In a tiny village where life moved at the pace of the flowing river, lived a young boy named Aniket. His world was small, filled with dusty lanes and the familiar faces of his neighbors. Yet his dream was very big. He wanted to become an IAS officer. Aniket saw the problems in his village. He saw the broken roads and the school that needed more teachers. He saw how his parents worked tirelessly in the fields for very little money. He believed that if he became an officer, he could bring real change. He could fix the roads, hire more teachers, and help the farmers. This simple, honest wish became the single goal of his young life, a bright star he looked at every night before he slept. The path to this dream, however, was not at all easy. It was like trying to climb a very tall mountain without proper shoes. Aniket's family did not have much money. Buying the big, expensive books needed for the civil services examination was a great challenge. His small house was always full of noise from his younger siblings playing, making it difficult to find a quiet corner to study. The nearest city with a good library and coaching centers was hours away, a journey his family could not afford for him to make every day. These were not small hurdles, they were giant walls that stood between him and his dream, and sometimes they seemed too high to ever climb over. Aniket did not have access to the internet or a computer like many other aspirants. He learned about the world from old newspapers that the village tea stall owner would give him. He would read every single word, from the front page headlines to the small advertisements. His friends in the city would talk about online classes and digital notes, which sounded like a different world to him. Aniket had only his second-hand books, his handwritten notes, and his unshakable determination. He knew that his resources were limited, but he believed that the power of his hard work was not. He made a promise to himself that he would not let his circumstances define his future. He started his preparation with whatever he had. He would wake up before the sun, when the entire village was asleep and the world was quiet. He would sit under the dim light of a kerosene lamp, his shadow dancing on the mud walls, and read for hours. He made his own timetable, sticking it on the wall next to his small sleeping mat. Every day, he would study history, geography, and politics, trying to understand the vastness of his country. He knew that thousands of others were preparing with better facilities, but Aniket focused only on his own journey, taking one small, steady step at a time, believing that each page he turned was a step closer to his goal. The civil services exam syllabus was as vast as the ocean. For a boy from a small village, it felt overwhelming. There were so many subjects to master, from ancient Indian history to international relations, from complex economics to intricate public policy. Each book he opened seemed to contain a world of information he had never known before. Aniket often felt like a small boat tossed in a giant storm of facts and figures. He would read for 12 to 14 hours a day, but at night, a small voice of doubt would whisper in his ear. Was he good enough? Could a simple boy like him truly compete with the best minds in the country? The weight of this pressure was heavy. His first attempt at the examination did not bring success. He did not even clear the preliminary stage. The day the results came, a heavy silence fell upon his small home. Some relatives whispered that he should give up this impossible dream and find a simple job to support his family. They said that such high ambitions were not for people like them. For a few days, Aniket felt lost. The failure was a bitter pill to swallow. He saw the disappointment in his father's eyes, even though his father said nothing. The mountain he was trying to climb suddenly seemed even taller and more dangerous, and he wondered if he had the strength to start climbing all over again. This period of doubt was his greatest battle. It was not about the books or the long hours of study anymore. It was a fight within his own mind. He would walk to the riverbank and watch the water flow endlessly, just like time. He questioned everything, his abilities, his decision, and his dream. Was it a foolish dream after all? Should he listen to his relatives and settle for a simpler life? These thoughts clouded his mind, making it difficult to even look at his books. The path ahead seemed dark and uncertain. He felt utterly alone in his struggle, convinced that no one could possibly understand the turmoil he was going through. But deep within him, the fire of his dream had not been extinguished. It was small, but it was still burning. He remembered why he had started this journey in the first place. He remembered the broken roads of his village and the hopeful faces of the children. He thought about his parents' silent sacrifices. Giving up would mean letting them all down. He realized that failure was not the end, but a part of the journey. It was a lesson. He decided to stand up again, brush the dust off his clothes, and face the mountain one more time. He would not let one failure decide his entire life's story. He would try again, and this time, he would be stronger. Aniket's parents were simple farmers, but they had a wisdom that no book could teach. They could not help him with his studies, but they gave him something far more valuable, their unwavering support. His mother would wake up with him in the early hours of the morning. She would make him a hot cup of tea and sit quietly in a corner while he studied, her silent presence a source of immense comfort. She made sure he ate on time, often saving the best part of the meal for him. She would say, "You just focus on your books, my son. We will take care of everything else." Her simple acts of love were the fuel that kept his spirit from breaking. His father, a man of few words, showed his support through his actions. To buy a new set of important books that Aniket needed after his first attempt, his father sold his most prized possession, a cow that he had raised since it was a calf. He did not tell Aniket about it for many days. When Aniket found out, his heart was filled with a mix of gratitude and sorrow. He looked at his father's calloused hands and realized the true weight of his dream. It was no longer just his dream. It was his family's dream, built on their sacrifices. This realization gave him a new sense of purpose and responsibility. He promised himself he would make their sacrifice worthwhile. Support also came from an unexpected place. The village schoolmaster, a kind old man named Mr. Sharma, heard about Aniket's struggle. He had retired many years ago, but his love for teaching remained. He called Aniket to his home one evening. He looked at Aniket's notes and gave him valuable guidance on how to structure his answers and manage his time. Mr. Sharma started spending an hour with him every evening, discussing difficult topics and clearing his doubts. He would bring newspapers from the city and explain the important articles to Aniket. This mentorship was like a lamp that illuminated the dark and confusing parts of his journey. Aniket's friends also played a small but important role. One of his friends who studied in a big city would send him photocopies of notes and magazines whenever he came to the village. He would tell Aniket about the latest exam patterns and important topics being discussed in coaching centers. This connection to the outside world was crucial for Aniket. It made him feel less isolated in his preparation. The combined support from his family, his teacher, and his friend created a strong safety net around him. He knew that even if he fell, there were loving hands ready to help him get back up. He was not alone on this difficult journey. With renewed determination and the strong support of his loved ones, Aniket prepared for his next attempt. This time, he was not just hardworking, he was also smart. He learned from his past mistakes. He focused on revising what he had studied and practiced writing answers every single day. The long hours of study did not feel like a burden anymore. They felt like a sacred duty. Every word he read, every note he wrote, was a step towards fulfilling the promise he had made to his parents and to himself. The doubts still came sometimes, but now he had the strength to push them away, remembering the faces of those who believed in him. The day of the final result arrived. The internet was still a luxury, so Aniket had to wait for his friend in the city to check the result online and call him. The minutes felt like hours. The entire family sat together in the courtyard, their hearts pounding with a mixture of hope and fear. When the phone finally rang, Aniket's hand trembled as he answered it. His friend's joyful shout on the other end of the line was the sweetest sound he had ever heard. "Aniket, you did it! You cleared it! Your name is on the list!" For a moment, there was complete silence, and then tears of joy streamed down everyone's faces. The news spread through the village like wildfire. Neighbors who had once advised him to give up now came to his house with sweets, their faces beaming with pride. They looked at Aniket with a new respect. He was no longer just the farmer's son. He was their officer, their hope for a better future. His father hugged him tightly, his eyes filled with tears he could no longer hold back. In that one moment, all the years of struggle, all the sacrifices, and all the sleepless nights seemed worth it. Aniket had not just passed an exam, he had broken the invisible walls of circumstances and proved that dreams can come true. Aniket stood on the dusty lane of his village, looking at the familiar sights. But today, everything looked different. It looked full of possibility. He was now an IAS officer. His journey was a testament to the simple truths of life, that with hard work, courage, and the support of loved ones, no mountain is too high to climb. His story became a lamp of hope for many other children in his village and beyond. A simple and powerful reminder that it does not matter where you come from. What truly matters is the size of your dream and the strength of your will to achieve it. A new dawn had begun, not just for Aniket, but for his entire village.